So we're in the dressing rooms now. Here's the Chelsea dressing room, preparing for it's fair to say, Stuart, the biggest matches of some of these youngsters' careers, other than, of course, those that have made first-team debuts, such as Nathan Acker.
Yeah, and there'll also be some players that will play even bigger games or in the summer. Cover here on Eurosport, the 17s and the 19s UEFA Championships. We're going to be covering the World Under-20, which many of these players may be playing in. Got some wonderful tournaments coming up for you for young players here on Eurosport.
Of course, you've played in a Youth World Cup, haven't you? I mean, it's fantastic. They've really grown and grown, haven't they, those competitions?
Yeah, when I played, it was, I think, the third tournament. The previous one was I played in '81, which was in Australia. And it was a great tournament to be involved in. We got to the semi-finals as England to lose to Qatar, who it was found out later on had a lot of 25 and 26-year-olds playing for them. But West Germany, as it was then, West Germany went on to win the final 4-0. We played against the current world champions, Argentina, in front of 35,000. We played in front of Australia. And there's the player that has got a bit of experience. We've seen him a lot for Holland. We've also seen him now play for Chelsea's first team in an FA Cup tie, Nathan Acker.
We were surprised, weren't we, when we were handed the team sheet with Nathan Acker's name on it, because he hasn't been involved for a while in the knockout stages of the next-gen competition, but he's such an important player in the centre of that midfield, and that's, to me, is what made the run all the more impressive. One of their best players not involved, they still made the final, but it does look as though he's actually been flown in for the final today. Shows just how seriously Chelsea are taking this.
There's the disappointed Arsenal group, not those, the ones we just saw beforehand. Let's hope there's a few more people in here today for the final, as there was more than there were for the semi-final. I think there is.
It certainly is a beautiful area of Europe. Como, of course, on the shores of Lake Como. A team that at one stage were in Serie A in Italy. They're currently playing in the third tier. And the two sides are making their way out here. There's been a bit of criticism over the surface, understandably so. As you can see there from the pictures, there's an awful lot of grass missing. It's fairly bobbly, and all the more credit, really, Stuart, to the quality that we've seen in the semi-final so far.
Yeah, it's made it harder for the players, and of course everybody will say that, you know, good quality players should be able to play on poorer surfaces, but when you see some of the earlier games in the tournament, when we saw Barcelona have a really great game against Tottenham at White Hart Lane, we saw Barcelona beat Wolfsburg comfortably, but they were played on fantastic surfaces. I think it's unfortunate that, I know you don't know what sort of weather you're going to get, but here are the sides. Aston Villa, they're going to stick with very much the same, apart from Calder coming in from that semi-final.
Yeah, Jordan Lydon is the player who misses out. He is on the substitutes bench. Ricardo Calder does come in to the Aston Villa side. It looks as though he's going to play in a holding midfield role, which is a bit different to where we saw him play in the semi-final when he came on the right side of midfield. Here is the Chelsea team then, and confirmation that Nathan Acker does start for Chelsea, wearing the number 6 shirt. So Acker is in, and he will hold just behind Lewis Baker and Jeremy Bogger. Baker still wearing the captain's armband, the player who scored a couple of goals in that semi-final. The man to watch, of course, though, for Villa, Islam Feduz, who will lead the line.
There's Tony McAndrew, who's done a good job since Kevin McDonald left to start with taking the first team at Aston Villa, and now manager of Swindon Town. I'll be surprised if Bogger plays in the midfield role that they put him in there. I imagine Cheek will play centrally and Bogger may play out on the left-hand side. There's Dermot Drummy, and there is the aforementioned Nathan Acker.
So this is it then, the final of the 2013 next-gen competition. 24 teams entered. The very first game was in the middle of August. And now on the first day of April, we will find out who are effectively the European youth champions. Chelsea and Aston Villa, both with one European Cup or Champions League trophy to their names at full level. Which one of them will claim Europe's top prize for club teams at youth level? going to be Chelsea to get us underway in the unfamiliar all-black strip. Aston Villa in their usual claret and blue. '13 next-gen final at the Stadium Giuseppe Sinigalia in Como is underway. Chelsea versus Aston Villa, the all-English affair. Which side will follow Inter as the European youth champions? There is Nathan Acker. Difficult first touch and an early opportunity there for Aston Villa.
Well, they started off the same way against Arsenal, trying to play it from the back on a bobbly pitch. Were pressurised in midfield and they gave the ball away cheaply, and their Acker gives it away cheaply. This is when they're better, driving forward.
Baker sliding it through, Kawamia. Great touch by the goalkeeper. Watkins looked for all the world as though Kawamia was going to put Chelsea ahead inside a minute.
Brilliant from Chelsea. Flick round the corner, Burke nutmegging the Aston Villa defender, trying to poke the ball through for a really good run from Kawamia. What a good start we've had.
Certainly have. A really open contest. Nathan Acker getting the foot in. And he clears.
As I thought, Bogger is going to play out on the left-hand side, and Cheek is going to play alongside Baker, who are both playing just in front of Acker. Bogger's just drifting infield slightly here.
There's Kinsella. Now Grealish. Kinsella again. Grealish, who is going to be a real threat. Robinson produced a terrific display against Sporting. Starting this move. Now it's Grealish. It's inside him. Grealish up against Christensen. Still going Grealish. I couldn't get the cross into any good effect though, and this is Cheek now for Chelsea. Poor ball though, cut out by Kinsella. It's already been a really good day for Chelsea, with the first team beating Manchester United in the FA Cup. Rounded off nicely, wouldn't it, if the under-20 team could claim the NextGen Series title. There's Calder. Touched by Robinson to Burke.
Already Robinson's first two touches have been excellent. Linking up the play.
Play by Carruthers. Still going Carruthers. Papo with a last-ditch challenge, got enough of the ball.
Well, we didn't see too much of this from Samir Carruthers in the semi-final. Did very much a defensive job for his team. Sometimes outnumbered in the midfield area, but that's a good driving run. And Papo just about gets there in time to get the block in. The big centre-half for Chelsea. Encouraging for Tony McAndrew.
The corner's gone all the way through to Beanie. Barton back covering ahead of Islam Ferruz.
Well, you'd like to see at youth team level there, Barton taking a bit more time and playing it back to his centre halves rather than kicking it out.
That's right. Papo. Acker. Another poor touch from Acker. Made a nervy start to this game. Here's Christensen.
Every other player here has already played on this pitch. Acker hasn't. He's got to be wary that the service isn't particularly true. He's got to make sure he gets his body in line. He's got to concentrate as the ball comes to him.
Robinson. Back by Carruthers. Here's Grealish. And again Grealish. Carruthers. Robinson was just offside. I wonder if that victory against Sporting will just give Aston Villa a bit more belief in themselves, having beaten one of the clear favourites to go all the way.
just offside, Robinson. I think you will be right, because they were outplayed in certain areas of the pitch against Sporting Lisbon.
Chelsea throw. Papo. McBeanie.
Drummy just telling his players that good tactical point, liven up.
Here's Robinson. Tried to cut in and get the shot away, took an awful lot of the turf with him.
Well, that's what we saw from him the other night, drifting out into wide areas, running the channels, then doing well when he gets it in those areas. That wasn't a great shot from him, but the idea was right.
It's Ferrers. Now Acker. Kawamia's flick to Christensen. Now Ferrers. Kawamia ahead of him. It'll be a tough afternoon for Kinsella up against Kawamia. Here's Ferrers. He's done well, Ferrers, and he was going for goal. The angle was tight, and I think it took a nick off Bradley Lewis for a Chelsea corner.
Driving run wasn't a bad effort either. I think that was going towards the far post. He hit it with power. The defender just got there in time. Lewis with the block.
Comes the corner. Robinson beaten to that, though. Played by Wright, touched back by Baker. Kiwamia. It is Christensen. Now Bogger. Still going Bogger. Now Ferrers on the turn, goes for goal again and forces the save from Watkins. Well, he only knows one way, doesn't he? Islam Ferrers, and that's straight for goal.
But a good run from Bogger, who has just changed his position, or he's changed his position all the time. He's gone from left-sided player to playing behind the main striker, Ferruz. But he's the runner with the ball. We saw that against Arsenal. He'd skip past challenges, go in between defenders. Watch the run here. He's already beaten 2 players. Reverse ball, and Ferruz needs no invitation to get his shot away. Lets it run across his body. It's a good effort from him, trying to hit it back across the goalkeeper.
It's Grealish.
What an excellent start we've seen in this first 7 or 8 minutes. The quality of play.
Now Cheek. This is Wright.
Cheek is another player that we saw for Chelsea who, once the game becomes a bit more spread, once they've earned the right to play, he will be quite a dominant figure, the number 8, very smooth on the ball. Picks out the right sort of passes.
There's Burke. Barton. Here's the free kick.
Definitely a free kick. Baker a little bit too enthusiastic to win it back. Now he's got it.
Here's Cheek. Christensen. Grealish putting him under pressure. With Davey. Thumped away by Beanie. Into touch. Aston Villa, unlike Chelsea, did take part in the inaugural NextGen Series last season. They reached the quarter-finals. They were beaten at home 2-1 after extra time by Marseille. They topped a group containing Ajax, Rosenborg and Fenerbahce. It's Christensen. It's Davey. Papo. By Beanie towards Ferrers, but Lewis got his head to it first. Now Robinson, this is Grealish.
Come back from an offside position, Robinson. It's good to see that the way Aston Villa are playing, it means that Calder is the holding midfield player. We'll just give licence for Carruthers to play a little bit higher up the field, which will suit him slightly. Still going to play almost with two up front, Burke and Robinson, rather than one behind the other. Robinson likes to make more forward runs. Burke likes to receive the ball with his back to goal, but their starting position is fairly similar.
It's Grealish. Baker's header. Cheek nods it on again to Baker. Well battled though by Aston Villa. It's Carruthers. It was their battling qualities at the end of the day that got them through against Sporting Aston Villa, because they were certainly outclassed in terms of open play against the Portuguese side. There's Bogger. Cheek wasn't really aware that the ball was coming. Now Grealish has it. It was a tall order for Robinson to keep that in play. His work rate was so impressive, wasn't it, Robinson, in the semi-final? A player who wasn't getting much service a lot of the time.
He worked really hard down those channels. Burke didn't have quite such an influence on the game. One was taken off in the semi-final.
Baker. The pressure from Burke. Papo. He scored a penalty, Burke, but it's fair to say it wasn't one of his better performances for one of Villa's more outstanding players in this run. They're challenging for it.
And you see Bogger trying to nick it between two defenders again and get in behind them. Samir Carruthers will argue with the referee, as we saw against Sporting Lisbon. He had a few rows with his opponent as well, didn't he? For Kobo.
It's Grealish. Still has it, Grealish. A player who likes to waste the ball. Jack Grealish held onto it well there, looking for options. There's Burke. Now Cheek. This is right.
Well defended. Webb with a slide tackle.
It's Davey. After a really bright opening couple of minutes, lost its way slightly, the game. Bit of a lull in the last few moments, after both teams had chances to take the lead in the opening minute.
We haven't seen too much of, apart from that run, Kiwomya, who has got great pace.
Cancella's throw. Grealish went into Aka though. Ferrez's touch to Cheek. Right in again to Bogger. Now Baker. Christensen. Now Kiwomya. Ferrez was the target. As nippy as he is, again, it was overhit. He looks lively, doesn't he?
Yeah, he is very quick over the first 5 or 6 yards. Ferruz, quick brain as well. He was a bit undecided. Kiwomya, when he came in field there, where he was going to play that pass, and it wasn't a great one.
It's Webb.
So when they haven't got the ball, Chelsea, number 11, Bogger, goes out to that left-hand side just to stop the Aston Villa fullback Webb getting forward too much. Give a bit of protection to Wright, the left-back.
It's Papo. Now Cheek. This is Christensen. Cheek continued his run and picks up the ball here. Now Kiwomya. Ferrer's beaten to it, and Kinsella clears it away. Here's Robinson. Got low by Baker. Header back by Lewis.
Yeah, there Robinson just getting good control and then trying to play the ball over the top for Burke, who'd made a good run.
They're given the ball away again. Donatian guilty this time, but it makes up for the error by winning it back. Donatian.
Well, I thought he was excellent against Sporting Lisbon. Donatian, defensively in particular, cutting out crosses that came into the box, winning headers, showing a good understanding of his defensive responsibilities.
A break on here. This is Robinson charging forward. Grealish is in the centre. And it was played into a dangerous area. Christensen just shepherding it out. Those two combined, remember, for an Aston Villa goal in the semi-final.
Good run from Burke on that occasion. Just getting away from that crowded area down the Aston Villa right. Did Grealish do enough to get into the box? Well, I think he can actually get onto the end of it. Burke very much a left-footed player there.
Corner taken short. This is Carruthers. Space for the cross, Carruthers, but straight into the hands of Beanie. Chelsea looking to counter with Bogger. Kinsella across and gives away the foul. Free kick to Chelsea. What will be a dangerous position.
That's what he's good at, Bogger. There's the little change of pace, the skip over the challenge. But he was thinking about having a step over there, but didn't have the time to do it because Kinsella got too tight.
Didn't really get going until the knockout stages, Chelsea. Won just 2 of their 6 games in the group stages. CSKA Moscow 1-0 away from home, and a 6-0 win against Molde of Norway. The habit of drawing games to sneak through in 3rd place in Group 3, Chelsea. Last year that wouldn't have been enough, as only the top 2 qualified for the knockout stages. Acker is in there. Here comes the free kick. It's too deep and over everyone.
Just too much on that one, trying to get it round the back for the overload that Chelsea did have round the back there. Just overhit. What a view that is.
Spectacular setting, isn't it, Lake Como?
It's nice of you to put us up in your lodge for the weekend.
His Webb. I thought you'd be staying with George Clooney. Lives in these parts. Here's Calder. Now Robinson. Cleared away though by Papo. Lewis with the touchback. By Cheek. A similar pattern starting to develop as there was between Aston Villa and Sporting. Chelsea with an awful lot of the ball. Here's Cheek. Acker. Papo.
Farou's just made his run too early there. Papo, the centre-half, in the first game against Arsenal, didn't look particularly confident on the ball, but this one's not a bad pass through, playing it down the line. I'm not sure that Donatian realised that he was squeezing up for offside. He just held a line. Farou's just made a run in behind him, made it too early.
Robinson beaten in the air by Papo. It's Papo again. He's an absolute giant, isn't he, at the centre of that Chelsea defence, Papo. Interesting to see how he copes with the pace of Burke and Robinson. Flags up on that far side.
the founders of this competition. What a good job he's done as well. Lots of interviews over the last 2 or 3 days.
Fabulous idea, isn't it? The concept, because, as you pointed out, at international level, there's plenty of tournaments organised by UEFA and FIFA. I can't imagine it'd be too long before UEFA take a look at this competition.
Well, I think they already have.
Minutes gone then in the final. Aston Villa 0, Chelsea 0. After a bright opening couple of minutes, the game hasn't really kicked on yet. Seeing over this free kick for Villa. It's Burke. Barton. In by Cheek though, and now Chelsea can counter. Here's Kawamya. Kinsella's got to try and stick with him. It's Kawamya, and it's off target.
Well, he did that exactly same thing against Arsenal, where he hits it with his laces in the end. He gets the ball too much in front of him. Got to just take it out to the side. It's a poor effort from him, and his pace gets in there. It's a half-hearted effort. He doesn't either side foot it or hit it with, almost stops his shot. Look at the pace that he shows to get inside, get beyond the fullback. Tony McAndrew not happy with his team. Good pass in behind.
Yeah, there's a real problem there for Aston Villa, isn't there? If the defensive line is caught high up, Kawamya's going to get in every time with just a ball through like that. He's got 5-6 yards on any of his markers.
But technically it was a poor finish. It's exactly the same one as we showed you just before the game, and he got through in the first minute of the extra time to miss a golden opportunity.
Grealish. He's drawn the foul from Christensen.
Clever player, Grealish.
He's a real nuisance, isn't he? He's kind of a scruffy, languid type of player, but he's effective.
But he just manipulates the ball so well. He threatens to cross, drags it in behind his standing foot. He'll drop his shoulder and go back onto his right foot to deliver crosses.
I say, a touch of the Chris Waddles about him. It's terrific in the semi-final. Burke over this, Carruthers as well. Samir Carruthers, who plays it in. It's off the head of Acker, and it's a corner for Villa. Jordan Lydon, you must be absolutely gutted, mustn't you, to play in the semi-final win against Arsenal and then be left out for the return of Nathan Acker. Can Aston Villa work from here? Robinson trying to find some space. Came off the head of Papo. Kawamya. This is Bogger. Good play by Bogger. He's charging forwards. Has support in the centre. Bogger plays it across, and what a crucial touch that was from Watkins. Otherwise, Ferrers would have been rolling in his 8th goal of the tournament.
Well, there we're seeing again the pace of Chelsea. Bogger, brilliant.
It's scattered again by Watkins as Bogger pulled the trigger. He was caught, but no foul.
Didn't really see that pace against us. We saw him go past people, but thought it was mainly with trickery. But there he went past 2 players with pace. Just couldn't get the right weight in the cross. For Farouz, who was waiting.
Here's Acker. At the moment, you have to say Chelsea are looking the more likely team to get the breakthrough first. Acker again. Now right. Into Ferrers. Lovely first touch by Ferrers. Gets the ball across, and Kinsella gets it away. Did really well to control that ball initially, Ferrers.
So he's running out of space, but he's still got the ball back into the 6-yard box.
Baker now. That's the free kick. Just get the feeling Aston Villa are getting more and more stretched here by Chelsea.
Great crossfield ball. Baker, who's now playing out on that left-hand side, not his favoured position, just takes it inside Webb, who has a little tug of his shirt. There you see it. Either way, no question about that.
Dangerous moments these for Aston Villa. Here it comes. They're almost getting something on it. It fell to Cheek. Final touch was off claret and blue. It's a Chelsea corner. Still the pressure remains on Aston Villa. Played in by Baker. Oh, the header on. It's cleared away by Calder. And now driven in by Kiwomya. Good save. Cheek on the follow-up. And the whistle has gone.
Cheek was offside when the ball was shot from Kiwomya, but that was a better strike from him. He strikes right through it this time, although he still doesn't follow through. Gets it across the goalkeeper. Decent save from Watkins. But Cheek was standing in an offside position when the ball was shot from Kiwomya. Chelsea just starting to dominate. Almost got an extra man in that central midfield area.
Robinson almost something on that. It's a corner for Aston Villa now. He managed to relieve that Chelsea pressure. Samir Carruthers will take the corner for Villa. I see him challenging, but it's easy for Beanie. It's Ferrers. Webb did well though. And Carruthers. It's the first time Carruthers, but he's overhit that.
Here is that shot again from Kiwomya, and there you see Cheek actually gets his head on it, but standing offside. He's been a threat, Kiwomya, down the right-hand side with his pace. On the other side, they're now playing with Baker, who's a technical player who would like to play little 1-2s and drift in field, so difference in the way those two wide players are playing at the moment. Bogger and Baker are changing positions all the time.
Header from Donatian. There's Webb. Now Burke. Touch off right. It's a throw for Aston Villa.
Not seen too much of Barton down that right-hand side for Aston Villa so far. Most of their decent plays comes from Grealish down the left.
A good call from Beanie, the Chelsea goalkeeper. Immediately tries to release Kiwomya. Kinsella getting the benefit of the bounce though. There's Cheek. Now Davey. Papo. Papo again.
Aston Villa not allowing Chelsea to play out from the back here, squeezing up their two centre forwards.
Oh, almost a breakdown in communications there between Davey and Papo. It's down to Mitchell Beanie to take control of the situation, the Chelsea goalkeeper. Here's Robinson. Now Burke. This is Grealish. Kinsella turning away from Kiwomya. Now Burke. Everywhere Burke goes, Nathan Acker seems to be in pretty close attendance, and it's a throw for Chelsea.
Saw Nathan Acker play for Chelsea against Middlesbrough in the FA Cup recently. Had a very good game as the holding midfield player.
It's his header there. He's been one of the outstanding players, hasn't he? As you say, even in the international youth tournaments for the Dutch. It's no surprise to see him knocking on the door of the first team for a regular start. Here's Robinson. Oh, it's drifted over and just over the top from Callum Robinson. I think Mitchell Beanie was worried for a second then.
Just uses the space that Christensen leaves for him. Just can't wrap his foot round it, but that's the air again. He likes to pull out wide. Burke will play through the middle at times. Grealish, if Robinson goes wide, will just support him so that if the ball goes back, he can get the next cross in. Good understanding, those two players. And again, when Chelsea try and play out from the back, it's almost suicidal because the pitch isn't good enough to do that, and Aston Villa are trying to press them high up the field. Almost encouraging the pressing to come from Aston Villa.
Baker. Here by Grealish. Cowder, played across by Cowder. Oh, Robinson had a great chance and couldn't turn it in. Just got stuck under his feet, didn't it? But what a chance for Aston Villa.
Good run from Cowder. Just gets away from Christensen. Beanie just palms it out into a dangerous area.
He can't believe he hasn't scored, can he, Robinson?
And he gets it in between his feet, doesn't he? Almost hits him on his knees and shins in the end. Comes to him very quickly, just can't adjust his feet. A bit unfortunate for the centre forward. Better from Aston Villa.
Here's Barton. Quiet so far. Now Carruthers. Webb. In again by Carruthers, but gathered by Beanie. What a terrific run, Aston Villa, when you consider they lost their opening 2 matches back in August. They were beaten 3-1 by Sporting and then 1-0 at PSV Eindhoven. 4 group matches, the last 16 quarter-finals, semi-finals, unbeaten since. His Cheek. Now Kiwomya. Pulled back by Kiwomya, and it's a poor attempt from Baker, the captain.
Good play, bit of play from Cheek to start with the big diagonal pass. Kiwomya doing well to cut the ball back. I think that's the area where he's got to improve his decision-making, Kiwomya, but that was a good one from him. It wasn't such a good decision from Baker because the ball didn't have enough pace. He didn't let it run across his body to hit it with his left foot. Could have taken a touch. Saw such composure from him against Arsenal, where he was absolutely outstanding.
This is Cheek. And again. There's a wayward ball straight to Jack Grealish. Skips away from Acker. And gets back at him for the second time. Ferrer's beaten in the air by Lewis. Whistle has gone though. There's Islam Ferrer's already capped at under 21 level by Scotland. A couple of goals in 3 appearances. A player who came through the Celtic youth setup before being signed by Chelsea a couple of years ago. Well, Scotland having a woeful time at full international level. I'm pleased to know that there's a bit of quality coming through at this age group in terms of a striker anyway. It's lovely play by Barton. Davey clears. Untidy play, and ultimately the foul given away by Calder.
Doesn't sound too happy, does he, Tony McAndrew, with 1 or 2 things at the moment. Webb getting back and just knocking Baker off the ball. referee just frustrating the players at times. Down the advantage. There's a chance to play on.
Zaka. Davey. It's almost a neat turn by Kiwomya.
He's won a free kick. Assistant referee gave a foul against the fullback, Kinsella.
Taken by Christensen. Now Cheek. Christensen again. Chelsea dominating the ball, but Aston Villa set up difficult to break down. As they've shown in this run to the final, a difficult side to beat. They've made a habit in this competition of beating technically better teams. Here's Bogger. By Bogger to Ferruz. Driven across, but off target.
Wrong decision from Baker. Had players in the box here. 3 players. There was a cutback on. There was the loft to the far post where Kiwomya was unmarked. Also, we saw Cheek making a run to get on the end of a cross.
Aka challenging. It's a neat turn away there from Barton. Yeah, quite a start to the game, but he's had a couple of decent runs in the last few moments. Joshua Barton. To Watkins. Now Webb to Barton. Watched by Kevin Wright, the left back. Donassian. What Burke could do to avoid colliding with the camera on the halfway line. Here's Papo. From Calder.
Worked hard in midfield, Calder. He's lost out to Cheek on this occasion.
Cheek has found Kiwomya. Checks inside from Kinsella, who's stuck with him. Kiwomya firing it in, and Lewis puts it behind for a corner.
Had it gone to Ferruz, he would have been offside. There again, Kinsella playing high, almost up against the offside line of Aston Villa, so when balls are played, very difficult for them to recover. It looked as though once he came in field onto his left foot, he was going to try and shoot with his left foot or play the next pass, but went back onto his right.
Baker's corner, just too high in the end for Papo, who came flying in for the header. And this is where Aston Villa could profit on the counter. Robinson. Papo seeing that out.
Come on.
It's been a frustrating first half again for Graham Burke, who struggled to find his best form in Como.
He's been overshadowed by Robinson.
Baker. Now Wright. Bogger ahead of him. Checks away from Barton. Now Acker.
Already an offside when the ball went back to Acker, because the centre-half had come out and put pressure on Ferruz. There was space for the ball to be played in for a couple of runners. Again, they went a bit too early and caught offside. Just lost its way slightly, the game, in this last 10-15 minutes.
Papo.
See, I'm not sure why Papo can't do that. When the ball goes back to Papo, rather than going back towards the goalkeeper on a bobbly pitch, why he doesn't just play the ball forward, find a better pass than the goalkeeper.
Flag was up against Kiwomya.
but he's always going to be virgin on that offside line. He's getting himself on the half turn. He can see right across. He's waiting for that switcher play. But when it does get played, his next touch should be in behind Kinsella.
He's a nightmare, isn't he, for an assistant, Alex Kiwomya, because he is so quick that you can guarantee that there are going to be wrong decisions made. Zaka taken down by Carruthers, and a yellow card straight out. Absolutely no hesitation from the referee.
Well, he's got a devilish streak in him, isn't he, Carruthers? We saw that in the previous game. In a constant battle.
He's got the look of a complete midfielder, though, hasn't he, Carruthers?
He's certainly tigerish. That's a poor challenge. We've seen him on a good run here today. He's a decent passer of the ball.
Good finish as well for
Has
the
he got the
third
creativity?
goal?
I mean, he's an excellent player. No, don't get us wrong. Has he got the creativity to open up defences?
Here he is. Carruthers again, faced by his opposite number, Cheek. Kinsella. Danasian. Villa will certainly be the happier of the two sides to go in at the break level. It's Lewis. Grealish.
Just the wrong bend on it. Yeah, just bending it out of play. Robinson done well. He played it back and then spun into the space. Doesn't look entirely happy, does he, Dermot Drummy?
It's Kiwomya. This is the run they've been looking for the whole of the first half. Kiwomya still has it. Still going, Kiwomya. And now Aka, great chance for Chelsea. Nathan Aka, and it's cleared away by Ricardo Calder. Still it remains at 0-0, and Nathan Aka cannot believe he hasn't scored there. Here's Christensen. Danger not gone yet for Aston Villa. Well, it has now. That was an awful effort from Cheek.
What a good bit of play here from the wide player Kiwomya. Aston Villa's centre-half started coming towards the ball, left other players in there, and Aka made a good run, or just stood still. Lovely little reverse ball for him. Watkins just about did enough.
Aka's header.
It's the first time we've seen Aka make a forward run, really. Very much the holding midfield player.
Credit Watkins there as well in that last chance. He got enough on it to slow the ball down and enable Calder to get back and clear. Aston Villa goalkeeper. That's what Grealish does well, twisting and turning, gets the cross in. Header back from Davey, gathered by Beanie.
Well, you mentioned Chris Waddle. I'll go for maybe Peter Beagrie, the way he kept on changing direction there.
Again, all through looking for Kiwomya, but it was cut out. This time by Lewis.
There it comes again, the diagonal ball. This time his touch goes backwards. It allows Kinsella to get tight, and the momentum's lost there.
Now Baker. Bogger. Continue to press and probe Chelsea. Cheeks had a nightmare his last couple of touches.
Well, it hasn't been the player that we saw against Arsenal, particularly in the second half when he started to run the game alongside Baker.
Approaching the final minute of the first half. Aston Villa 0, Chelsea 0, but both teams have had one glorious chance each. Callum Robinson getting his feet in a bit of a tangle for Aston Villa, and then Nathan Aka denied by a combination of Watkins, the goalkeeper, and Ricardo Calder. Generally, though, Chelsea have created more and been the better side. Right with the cross in. Now Barton.
Offside, Robinson.
There up goes the flag. I mentioned it before, but it is very similar, isn't it, to the Villa Sporting game?
Just seeing offside.
Kiwomya. Cheek. It's Christensen.
actually say Aston would have had a bit more of the game against Chelsea than they did against Sporting Lisbon in the first half. There's that running ability of Bogger again.
And that is half-time. Aston Villa 0, Chelsea 0. A game in which both teams could have taken the lead in the opening minute of the first half. The game lost its way a little bit, and then Chelsea created a few chances. Callum Robinson with the best of them for Aston Villa, and Nathan Acker perhaps should have scored for Chelsea. But at half-time it is Chelsea 0, Aston Villa 0.
Rossi back on and go.
Welcome back. Sides making their way out for the second half, still awaiting the opening goal of the 2013 next-gen final between Chelsea and Aston Villa. I think Chelsea have looked the better side, Stuart, but Aston Villa have shown enough to suggest that if Chelsea don't create or take chances, Villa are capable of snatching this.
I think you're right. Look, the more threatening side, because they've got pace with Kiwomya down the right-hand side. Farouz is clever around the box. We've seen Bogger run with the ball as well. Baker's made some quite incisive passes, and they've got Cheek and Ake who can also pick out passes. They haven't got their fullbacks forward too much. Aston Villa are relying a little bit too much on Robinson at times, and Grealish, the way he can go past people down the left-hand side. Haven't seen too much of Barton or Burke, really.
I've got a couple of flashes from Barton in that first half. Clearly, most of Chelsea's good work has come down the right side with Alex Kiwomya. They do look dangerous when his pace gets in behind the Aston Villa defence. He's had a couple of decent chances, but no question Nathan Acker had the clearer sight of the Aston Villa goal. Islam Ferrers was a bit quieter, wasn't he, towards the end of the first half after a bright opening. He has been in great scoring form. Islam Ferrers, the Somalian-born Scot.
He's had a difficult couple of games. Christensen up against Grealish. He's to defend well in 1v1 situation. Hasn't always got the better of Grealish.
There's Robinson. Christian winning that challenge.
Arsenal had the pace of Eberchilio.
It's Carruthers. Switched out to Webb. Are we comfortable enough for Beanie? Zaka. Cheek all the way back to the goalkeeper again.
This is where they cause themselves one or two problems. In the end, they have to go long because Aston Villa had squeezed them and tried to lock them in that side of the field.
Drummy in charge of this Chelsea setup. Kinsella. Touch of the Ronald Koeman's about him to look at.
Sammy Lee.
I'll stick with Ronald Koeman, I reckon. Nice Cheek. Flag up. Now Robinson. No danger for Chelsea if Robinson gets away from the central defenders. He's still going, Robinson. Holding off the challenge of Davey. He was caught there, Robinson.
And it's a penalty.
And it has to be a penalty, and it is. Fantastic play by Callum Robinson. And the referee in no doubt whatsoever that Alexander Davey caught him. And as they did against Sporting Lisbon at the start of the second half, Villa have a penalty.
It's just brilliant play from Robinson again. How many times over the last two games have we seen him pull out into that wide or inside left position? He makes the run over the top. Carruthers played in the ball to start with after the quick free kick, and then in the 1v1 situations he twists, he turns, he stops the ball, he changes direction. He's been outstanding throughout these two games so far. Davey couldn't cope with it.
Graham Burke then, with the chance to put Aston Villa ahead, and he has. Sends the goalkeeper the wrong way, and Graham Burke has given Aston Villa a wonderful start to the second half. Just 3 minutes gone, his 6th goal of the 2013 NextGen Series, and as they did against Sporting, Aston Villa have taken the lead with a penalty right at the start of the second half.
Yeah, Beanie goes the wrong way. Not sure it was a great penalty in terms of where it goes in the goal, but Burke will say he waited for Beanie to go down. Suddenly Aston Villa are in the driving seat. They also got to give Carruthers credit because they took the free kick quickly, they played it square, got it to Carruthers, who played the next ball forward. The 2 centre-halves for Chelsea weren't aware of the situation. Oh, now he's going to get a booking here. Burke, I think. He's got to control himself. Referee just handling it well now, just saying calm yourself down rather than booking him, because he'd already told him to get away from the ball. When they tried to take it, he just stuck his leg out.
It's Bogger. Now Davey. He really was led a merry dance, wasn't he, by Callum Robinson, giving away that penalty kick. Kawamia. Cheek.
Not been the same influence, Cheek, in this game as he was against Arsenal.
Burke. Barton after this. Papo across though. It's a Chelsea throw. Robinson standing in the semi-final, and he hasn't let us down again. He looks to have a real future if he keeps up this kind of performance level. At times he's feeding off scraps in this Aston Villa team, Robinson.
Here he goes again. He's made that same run in behind Christensen this time, and he's going to get there.
Lovely ball by Carruthers again. Here's Robinson. Touch back to Carruthers, and that was a chance. Just got under it though, the Aston Villa captain.
He's never favourite to win that ball, Robinson, when it's played over the top, but he just gives Christensen a little shove. Just gets his body in the way. There is the penalty that puts Aston Villa 1-0 up. Calmly taken.
Papo's header. Conceded first, remember, in the semi-final, Chelsea against Arsenal, before then blowing a 3-1 lead, requiring extra time to pick up the win.
I think handball was given there against Robinson. Exactly what the referee's saying. There it is, ball thrown into him. Dangerous play from Papo, because the whistle hadn't gone at that point, and he's having a little kick at the back of Robinson.
Papo looking for Ferrers. Bogger. Acker. Bogger again. Acker. Again, Aston Villa working hard to close down the space and make it difficult for Chelsea. And now Barton has won the ball from right. Webb clears. Certainly well organised, Aston Villa. There's Ferrers. Now Christensen. Davey. Touch by Kawamia to Christensen, but his ball cut out and cleared by Lewis. This is Papo. Now Bogger. He's falling for cheek here. Helps it out to Kawamia. It's away from Kinsella, and then he's dived horribly looking for a penalty, hasn't he, Kiwomya? And a yellow card for Alex Kiwomya. You can have absolutely no complaints.
Well, terrible dive, wasn't it? Done everything right. He'd come back onto his left foot. Why he doesn't stay on his feet to get a left foot shot away? Really seen him use his left foot. He does get clipped there.
Yeah, he does.
And then he stays on his feet to get the shot away and then throws himself to the ground.
Had he gone down initially, he would have got a penalty, wouldn't he? But having ridden the challenge, to go down, what, a second and a half later, it was embarrassing, wasn't it?
It's fairly lucky for Kinsella. It was a rash challenge from him, sticking his right leg in there.
There's Christensen. Very straight over with the yellow card out. It's Kinsella. It's Robinson. It is a funny one, that though, Stuart, isn't it? Because he was actually fouled, in fairness, but you're always going to get a yellow card for the reaction having stayed on your feet.
Yeah, when you say he was fouled, he was clipped.
Yeah.
But because he stayed on his feet, which was the right thing to do, because he wasn't brought down, he should have then got away his shot. But his afterthought was, I have been clipped, I'm now going to go down.
Webb with the throw for Aston Villa. Here's Boggart. Here's Burke. Now Acker. This is Papo. Knocked away by Danasian. Carruthers. Carruthers again, looking to release Robinson. Faced by Davey again, slips it through the legs of Davey Robinson and gets the cross in.
Those two are combining really well, Carruthers and Robinson.
And Davey's having a torrid time, isn't he, up against Robinson. Here's Kiwomya. It's away from Calder and wastes the cross, Kiwomya.
A lot of very quick players. He gets in behind, he gets in good positions, he's made some good runs, Kiwomya. His final pass and final cross or shot haven't quite been good enough. He's got to learn to make the better decisions, and when he makes good decisions, to get the technical side of it right.
It is amazing, isn't it, as you say, how often that is the case with quick wingers in particular, that the end product is wasteful. Of course, those that don't have a wasteful end product turn out to be world-class players generally. Here's Wright. Papo.
The problem with very, very quick players, at a young age, they don't really need to learn the game technically, because all they want to do is have the ball played over the top. They race after it, they go and score goals. They don't have too many decisions to make, but as they play at a higher level and defenders are better and the opposition's organisation makes it more difficult for them, then they've got to have other strings to their bow. Got to have a trick when they're running with the ball. They've got to know how to find space. They've got to know when to cross it, when to pass it.
He's right. Now Acker. This is Calder. Now Wright. Cheek. Baker. Well defended again by Kinsella, who's stuck to the task well against Kiwomya. There's Davey. Did well to get anything on that, but it's a goal kick ultimately.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure the ball was meant for Wright. Big diagonal, Davey, but Wright was an afterthought. Information coming from the Aston Villa staff.
Wright's header. by Danasian though. This is Davey. Whatever happens here now, things continue to look bright for Aston Villa in the sense of their youth setup. Here's a chance for Burke, who went first time to try and lob Beanie.
Could he have taken a touch? I think he could have done. It wasn't a great kick, it was headed straight back. Both Robinson and Burke got onto it. Beanie was racing back towards his own goal, but I think Burke could have shown a bit more composure there and actually ran it in before getting his shot away. Maybe on a perfect pitch that was would have been a good decision, but the ball's bobbling around, very difficult to play at one touch.
Played there by Burke though. Found kindly for Cheek in between Grealish and Robinson. Here is Grealish. They're away by Danasian. Now Carruthers. Holds off Acker.
I think he's won that battle in central midfield, Carruthers against Acker.
Here's Webb now. What was he going for goal there, Webb?
No, he's trying to bend the ball in for the run of Robinson. I think the ball just bobbled in front of him, so he hit it far too hard and on the wrong angle as well. He's trying to use his side foot to bend it into the space.
It was a disappointing final ball in the end from Josh Webb.
In the second half, Chelsea haven't really been able to get themselves back into the game, have they? There again, trying to play out from the back, which is most occasions you try and encourage that, but if the opposition press you high up the field and it's on a bobbly pitch, sometimes you have to play beyond that pressure.
It's Bogger. Davey.
They've given it away again here.
There's poor control from Cheek, and Carruthers stepped in. Cheek won it back though. That will do from Kinsella. Aston Villa are half an hour away from being the first English team to lift the NextGen Series title. Fabulous achievement. Things not going too well for Paul Lambert and his first team squad, but signs there's plenty more coming through. Of course, the first team of Aston Villa is very inexperienced. Here's Carruthers. Touch off from Grealish. Now Davey. It's probably one of the best clubs to be at if you're a promising youth player at the moment, Aston Villa. Here's Davey. Chance for Ferrers in behind, and a good block by Danasian. Makes the block and then clears it away.
Got round on the cover eventually. Danasian, it's a good block for him as well.
Carruthers, again, that ball to Robinson that has served them so well in this second half. Faced by Papo. Gets away from Papo. Robinson is still going, Robinson. And still going, and eventually the ball runs through to Beanie, but he's a real nuisance, Callum Robinson.
Well, how many more times is he going to make that run and the centre-halves aren't going to see it or deal with it? Every time Christensen just goes, the right back slightly goes forward to the wide, towards the wide player Grealish, they stick the ball in behind and Robinson makes that run. He's always on the half-turn threatening. So many front players you see want to come back for the ball all the time. Robinson's always threatening the back of centre-halves.
Some strong tackles going in there. Kiwomya involved. And he's won the decision. It's Bogger. Now Ferrers. Kiwomya in space. His body's up here for Chelsea if Kiwomya can pick them out. Steps away from Kinsella. Touch back to Baker. And it's another horrible finish. It's 3 or 4 times now, Baker in particular. He's driven well off target from that kind of range. Ruben Cheek a couple as well.
The pitch doesn't help. When the ball's rolling back, it's always going to have a little bobble, so you're going to hit it over the bar. But I think Kiwomya had the opportunity, when the ball was played out to him, to take a touch and whip the ball into the box, because they had runners going in there. Keeps turning back onto his left foot, and because he won't cross it with his left foot, the ball has to come back to the edge of the box. Little pass outside the danger area, really.
Here's Bogger. Well played, Calder. His foot in, did well. He's had a good game, actually, Calder. He didn't start the semi-final, remember. It was his clearance in the first half that kept the scores level.
The they want to develop Kiwamia's game, he's got to get a left foot so that when he does come back onto it, he can cross the ball.
It's Kiwamia. Gets the cross in this time. Lewis with the header away. Now Cheek. Here's Carruthers. Kinsella to Burke. Now Robinson. He's great with the ball in tight situations, Robinson. Be careful here, Chelsea. Time just beginning to ebb away for them. There's Ferrers. Lewis. He's got the block in, and Danasian tried to save the corner, but it had already gone behind.
He had those 2 early shots, didn't he, for us, but hasn't really been able to get away from Lewis or Danasian.
Comes the corner, Acker jumping, but Watkins did well. Good handling.
Great take from Watkins. He's going to get a pat on his shoulder from the centre-half because it was a good delivery into the box. There's players attacking the ball, Chelsea. Papo being one of them. He's a big player, Acker. That's great goalkeeping.
All right, getting himself in a bit of a tangle, but knocked out by Beanie. Pressing again here. Robinson. And that wasn't the best shot. But again, he looks lively, doesn't he?
It's that space again. Yeah, Tony McAndrew screaming around to get at the defender. He knows he's got the beating of him.
Chelsea have only failed to score in one game in this NextGen Series competition. That was the 0-0 draw against Ajax. Been full of goals. There's Davey. Got 25 minutes to find another one and perhaps force extra time. It was a 1-1 between Inter and Ajax in the first final last year in London.
Tony McAndrew just giving some instructions to the Villa players. Couldn't quite see what it was. About the front players, how to position themselves. I think he might be asking Burke just to play in the hole behind Robinson.
Papo. He's right. Bogger after this. Webb did well though. Can't see your Sammy Lee there, you know. Here's Papo. Now Davey. Baker. Ferrers. Lewis sticking with him. And Lewis did well. He's just stronger. This could be the start of a wave of pressure from Chelsea as they try and find this equaliser.
Aston Villa have won a throw-in. Good closing down from Aston Villa in forward areas. Another good year of next-gen football. Second year it's been in operation.
16 teams first season, 24 this season. 15 of the original 16 teams took part again. Basel of Switzerland, the only side who didn't enter for the second year. Still a few big names that we'd like to see involved, the likes of Manchester United, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Milan. Still absent. Numbers up here, Aston Villa. They can play it right. It's Grealish. Twisting and turning Grealish, it's blocked away, it's fallen for Grealish again, who's still going. And that will be a corner. Grealish and Robinson are both players, aren't they? Twist and turn, you think they've lost it, and suddenly they get control of the ball again.
Well, they're both excellent footballers, and he just about gets it away, doesn't he, the goalkeeper, Beanie, with his right foot.
Sneaking in that, wasn't it?
Yeah, we look at one player for the opposition, Kiwami, who's got great pace, but those players, Robinson and particularly Grealish, are able to change directions, threaten to shoot, chop it back the other way, manipulate the ball. There's several different ways to beat a player.
Carruthers. Barton. Oh, it's curled in. It's a terrific save by Beanie. Well worked again by Aston Villa. And I think Dermot Drummy is considering taking action in terms of substitutions for Chelsea.
Good effort. Set play, set back to the edge of the box. Just didn't quite get the right angle. If it had been in the far post, I think he'd have scored. Here it comes again. Barton, the player.
Carruthers with the corner then for Aston Villa. Outswinger this time. Papo winning the header, unchallenged.
Carruthers has had a much better game today than he had on Friday night.
There's Bogger. Kiwami was the target. Well covered though by Kinsella. This is Barton. Throw for Aston Villa. It's going to be a really interesting last 20 minutes because Chelsea are going to have to start pushing, perhaps leaving a few gaps in behind, and Aston Villa have just the players to take advantage of that. Here's Davey. They've come into the game as favourites Chelsea, with that pendulum at the moment very much swinging towards Aston Villa. Christensen.
He's got to change something, whether it's his personnel or whether it's his team shape. He's got to somehow sort things out here, the manager. Things aren't going his way. Dermot Drummy would always expect his side to create chances. They haven't created too many in this second half.
It's an Aston Villa free kick now by Davey on Burke.
Silly foul from Davey as well. The ball had been lost by Burke.
Would love the cushion, wouldn't they, of a second goal, Aston Villa.
And it's cheek going off, and no surprise there. Excellent against Arsenal. Really hasn't influenced the game. It's been run off of it really by Carruthers at times, and Calder.
He's been replaced by Connor Hunt. Here comes the free kick. It's gathered by Beanie.
Well, I'd imagine Connor Hunt will come and play out on the left-hand side, and Bogger may play further infield, where I think he's better. But with the foul.
Aston Villa throw. Significant change then for Dermot Drummy, Chelsea coach.
See, there you see the number 11, Bogger, playing behind the main striker now, Ferruz. Can he have more influence there, the number 11? He's a player that's good in tight areas, running with the ball.
He's right.
And Connor Hunt has come out to this left-hand side.
Now Papo. Just haven't got Ferrers into the game at all, have they? Second half, Chelsea. Here's Wright. Good run by Wright. Opened up for him for a second until Carruthers came in. And that's a foul on Baker and a free kick to Chelsea. In a decent position.
Baker realises the challenge was coming in, and just stepped across it. Not sure that was a foul. Looks as though he got the ball there, Calder. Again, going back to that Arsenal game, there was a free kick just before half-time that Baker took, and he hit it brilliantly. As the keeper, Iliev, beaten all ends up. Just went outside the post. Can he do the same here?
Watkins knows if he can keep a clean sheet, Aston Villa will be the champions.
Doesn't take much of a run up, but he hits it very cleanly, Baker.
It is Baker. Big nick off the wall, and it's a corner.
Just tried to deceive the goalkeeper on that occasion. Instead of going for that far post, he tried to wrap his foot round it and take it back into the near post again.
Ball did its job there, though. It was a good strike from Lewis Baker. It's his corner now. Aka was rising. Watkins produced a hand from nowhere to tip it away. Here's Christensen. And Papo. Promising break here now, though, for Aston Villa with Robinson. Now Burke. Robinson again as Chelsea get bodies back. Carruthers. Burke again taking Christensen into the corner. It's a bit early for that. What else does he have up his sleeve, Dermot Drumming? Grealish. Kinsella. It's Grealish. Lost his footing, but still managed to keep the ball in. And it's a goal kick.
Let's see another substitution. Davey coming off the centre half.
That's his challenge that gave away the penalty. Charlie Colkett is his replacement. So 2 changes now for Chelsea inside the last 15 minutes, and Graham Burke's penalty separates the sides. Here's Burke. Knocked away by Lewis. Now Grealish. Robinson. Pass by Christensen. Twists away Robinson. That'll be a corner if it goes. Robinson keeps it in play. It's Grealish in support. Robinson whips the ball in, but straight into the hands of Beanie this time.
Looks as though Chelsea have gone to a back three, and the two wide centre halves are the full-back right and Christensen. Papo will play right in the heart of that defence, and the substitute Colkett's going to play in midfield alongside Aka. So brave move. I always like to see a manager change the system when things aren't quite working. Change the game. How can he affect it? Where can they get a spare player? Where can they overload the pitch? What they don't need is Aka keep coming back into the back three to get the ball, otherwise it defeats the object.
It's Christensen.
And then you see Baker going back into the back area to receive the ball. So they've got a lot of players behind the ball now, Chelsea.
Baker wins the free kick.
Players in the forward areas.
Here's Papo. Now right. Here's the throw. Aka came short. Touch off though by Colkett. And now Kawamya. Had much less joy over on that right side in the second half. Still going Kawamya. And the ball back was really poor to Bogger. Chelsea still have it though with Baker.
The best ball that he's played over the two games was that reverse ball in the first half when he played it into Aka. Kiwomya, but most times when he starts to come back inside onto his left foot, he doesn't look to play those little balls there. He still plays balls into the edge of the box.
It's cleared away by Danassian this time. They need to try and avoid, as the flag goes up against Kiwomya on the far side. Aston Villa is a backs to the wall job in the last 12 minutes, isn't it? They need to continue playing the way they have been.
Bit lazy there, coming back onside, Kiwomya.
Nothing more frustrating, is there, than when a team with a lead just retreats further and further back and eventually concedes a late goal.
But for the most of this second half, they haven't really been under serious threat, have they, Aston Villa? Chelsea haven't really been able to open them up. It's been a bit too easy at times for Aston Villa to see the danger.
Yeah, Chelsea were better first half, weren't they, unquestionably. Papo's header. Here's Grealish. All right for Chelsea.
So they're pressing high up the field. Well played, Aston Villa, on that occasion.
Webb looking for the run of Robinson. By Beanie. Now here's Nathan Acker. He's brought in to have a real influence on this final. He's missed Chelsea's best chance of the game. Well played by Kinsella. There's Grealish. I do wonder if Acker's had the influence that Dermot Drummy was hoping for, in truth, for Chelsea.
His first two touches, he gave the ball away, didn't he, when it was played into him in midfield?
Played by Bogger. It's Kiwomya again. Skips away from Kinsella, and it's gathered by Watkins.
Kinsella just got his body position wrong there. Once he stopped the ball, Kiwomya. There's the yellow card we saw for Lewis Baker. He knows that Kiwomya's quick off the mark. He just needed to almost stand on his right foot, because when he comes in on his left, he's not a threat. Well, I came away from the match against Arsenal thinking that Chelsea had some outstanding youth team players. Cheek being one of them, Baker being another, Bogger being another, and they haven't really played to that same level.
Whereas Aston Villa's players have put in similar performances, haven't they?
I'll say Aston Villa played slightly better than they did against Sporting
I agree.
Lisbon. Much better, in fact, as individuals and as a team.
Webb with the throw. But what it has been over the two games is the likes of Carruthers, Grealish, Robinson. They've performed again, haven't they?
When you're going to watch football games away and you're looking at players, you have to see them over several games. You know, Carruthers in the first game, I could see that he was tigerish, but I didn't see his qualities on the ball. Today, you can see the qualities on his. He's played ball after ball over the top for the run of Robinson.
Play Kinsella, who's really got to grips with Kiwomya in the second half. It's Carruthers. Play by Carruthers. Now Grealish. Oh, that's a high challenge on Grealish. And free kick for Aston Villa. There's a real confidence now about Aston Villa. Well, there he is, Roberto Samadin. He's Interside, remember. Lifted the first title last year, beating Ajax on penalties.
This is a tournament that lots of other coaches from around Europe will come and watch. In the stands here, there's a lot of scouts here. They could have stayed at home and watched Eurosport.
That would be the sensible option, of course. Here's Burke.
Oh, that's a poor challenge.
It's crazy. What on earth was Burke doing there?
That is reckless from Burke. Absolutely ridiculous.
He's lucky it's only yellow. Absolute madness from Burke. I mean, Villa are winning this game by 1-0. The ball's in the corner.
There's no good pointing at the other player. Whatever's been said, whatever's happened, You don't want to commit a foul like that. Watch here. He goes over the top of the ball.
I tell you what, if Lewis Baker doesn't step out of the way there, a young career is in serious jeopardy from what Burke's done. He's extremely fortunate that's not a red card.
I think Tony McAndrew may do well to take him off with 7 minutes left. He's lost his head by the looks of it.
Well, that's utter madness, wasn't it? Here's Carruthers. Now Barton. Here's Kawamia. Again, Kinsella doing enough just to put Kawamia out of his stride. Here's Baker. Now Kawamia. Lewis covering well, though.
Yeah, well played the centre half, Lewis, getting across. Kinsella was up the field, read the danger.
Baker looking to take the throw. And just 6 minutes, Chelsea, to find themselves an equaliser. It's Colkett. And that was out. Goal kick, Aston Villa.
That's the first we've seen of Colkett. Surprised we haven't seen John Swift, who came on, I thought played really well when he came on against Arsenal. Made the winning goal from a midfield position. Showed great energy at times.
Well, you're a player, Stuart, who made it into the first team at a really young age. How easy is it to tell whether or not these players are ready for, like, the Aston Villa first team, for example?
Until you put them in, you never know.
It's always a gamble then, no matter how outstanding they are. Even
You know, if you watch youth team players enough and you watch them from the ages of 12 right through to 17, you know whether they've got the talent. You know whether they're going to be, you know, what their attributes are. Can they cope mentally when they go into the first team? Can they cope with disappointment if they don't play particularly well? Can they cope with the physical side of it? God, you've got to remember, all these players, you know, that play in the first team started off somewhere as a youngster.
Well, it certainly bodes well for Paul Lambert, doesn't it? A coach who this season, despite their struggles, has certainly given the youngsters a chance in the first team. It'll be an interested viewer to see the performances of Grealish, Carruthers, Robinson in particular, Kinsella, and how he's coped with the pace of Kawamia.
Make it clear, when I got in the Arsenal first team at 17 in a couple of weeks, I think Arsenal were about 3rd or 4th in the league at the time, but there wasn't a whole host of foreign players at the football club. So it was an easier period to go and play first team football. Now these players, not only do they have to be very good, they have to be absolutely outstanding. The Barclays Premier League as it is at the moment.
Of course, that's borne out by some of the nationalities that we've seen in the youth teams as well. Then he clears it away. Of course, promising foreign players now are signed as teenagers, aren't they? Here's Aka. Oh, that's terrific play from Aka. Now Kawamia. And that's a shame that nothing came of that, because that was fantastic play by Nathan Aka, and that was more like it from the Dutchman.
Well, that's what you expect to see from a player that's played in the first team. You know how good he is when he's been playing for the Dutch under-17s. He captained their side, ran midfield on a couple of tournaments.
Throw for Aston Villa. Time running out for Chelsea. 3 minutes. Here's Baker. Barton has gone with him, though. Barton gets the block in, and Baker wins the corner for Chelsea.
The last few corners, Watkins has done very well, the Aston Villa goalkeeper. Will he come and claim this one?
Here comes the corner, and well claimed again by Watkins.
There's nobody standing in front of him. So often you see players now stand in front players stand in front of the goalkeeper, so it's difficult for him to come out for it, but Chelsea aren't doing that. And the ball's been hit into the 6-yard box. He's got a decent spring. He's obviously got Good eye-hand coordination, as you'd expect from a goalkeeper. His judgment's been excellent.
Challenging. He's made 2 appearances in all in the Chelsea first team. The FA Cup match that you were talking about in December. Played in Chelsea's 1-0 win against Norwich City. Cap for the Netherlands at under 17 and under 19. He originally came through the Feyenoord Academy, which of course is a team that relies on its youth players.
That's the problem these days when you talk about players coming through, and if he plays lots of games for Chelsea, Chelsea will take the credit. What credit the Feyenoord get for actually the first bit of upbringing of him from sort of 8 to 16.
Yeah, exactly. He joined Feyenoord as a 12-year-old. Kinsella. The yellow card is coming out here for Kiwomya. He's already been booked, I think, Kiwomya. This could be the end of his final, you know. Indeed, there it is, red card, Alex Kiwomya. And Chelsea are down to 10 men.
Well, it's been a disappointing. He started the game very well, Kiwomya. It was a real thorn in Kinsella's side with his movement, and he was staying very high and wide. They kept on hitting balls in behind. He should have taken an early chance. A couple of early chances he had. As the game's worn on and the game's become a little bit tighter, Kinsella's done a better job on him. He just hasn't had the ability to go past Kinsella enough.
You just wonder if Chelsea's hopes of winning this competition have gone down the tunnel with Alex Kiwomya, because here's Aston Villa now pressing for a second that would wrap it up. Barton.
He's going to run it to the corner, Barton.
Still has it, Barton, and wins the corner.
It's even better than run it to the corner.
2 minutes to be added on, so not an awful lot of time for Chelsea to grab themselves an equaliser.
Imagine they try and take this short and just keep the ball here. If they're sensible, they will. They certainly don't want to be counter-attacked now. Ring the box. Make sure they keep enough players back so if the ball's played forward, they can defend it well.
Barton's throw. Aston Villa will just keep the ball in the corner for the final minute if they can. He's right though for Chelsea. Needs to go forward. It's picked up by Carruthers. Now Kinsella. Now Aka. There's too much on that for Ferrers. It's out of play. It's a throw to Aston Villa, and they are almost there.
And in the second half, they've deserved it. Chelsea were still probably the better side in that first half. They looked the more creative side, but they've created nothing in the second half. Aston Villa defended well all around the field. They've had 3 players that I think have been excellent for them: Grealish, Robinson and Carruthers. Chelsea haven't had the ability to break them down.
It's Grealish. Still going, Grealish. Still twisting and turning. Capo making the challenge. And Barton has gone down, and it's a penalty. A second penalty for Aston Villa. Joshua Barton fouled, and this is the chance to really wrap it up now. And it will surely be the last kick of the game.
Well, Grealish it was to start with, twisting and turning in the box. Don't think that was a foul there. And that's not when it was given. It was given for the next one, when the ball comes to Barton.
Oh, now Graham Burke, a chance to score his and Aston Villa's second from the penalty spot. And he wins the NextGen Series for Aston Villa. 2-0. Chelsea beaten. It was indeed the last kick of the game. Graham Burke converting 2 penalties in a second-half display, Stuart, that is worthy of the side that has won this tournament.
Yeah, you have to get the balance right, and they got the balance right completely in the second half. Aston Villa, they were good on the ball. They had the runs of Robinson in behind. Burke played that little bit shorter. Carruthers was very good in midfield, picked out the right sort of passes. Of course, they won the game with 2 penalties, but all over the field they defended well, and they stopped Chelsea playing, and Chelsea couldn't find space on the pitch. And in the end, I think they deserved it, Aston Villa. I thought they were fortunate to beat Sporting Lisbon, but they deserved their victory here today.
Yeah, they certainly did. Very different game in the second half. Chelsea had chances in the first and couldn't take them. Alex Kawamya's sending off didn't help, but 2 Graham Burke penalties have won the NextGen Series for Aston Villa. An absolute delight for those Aston Villa players. What's been a difficult season for the Aston Villa first team, with their Premier League status in real jeopardy. The Aston Villa youngsters have given the whole of Villa Park a real lift. Thoroughly deserving for a side who, remember, lost their first 2 games of this tournament, but they have gone on an 8-match unbeaten run to become the 2013 NextGen champions. Well, stay tuned, because following us here, it is Euro Goals, your 5-star team to take you through all the European football. Tim Capel and Andy Bodfish will be here with the weekly roundup on Euro Goals. Well, we'll leave you with the celebrations of those Aston Villa players. They came here probably out of the 4 teams considered as the outsiders. Arsenal, Chelsea and Sporting, the more likely teams, perhaps, in many people's minds, to lift the trophy. But Aston Villa have been really well organised, and congratulations to Tony McAndrew and Aston Villa. And Stuart, you have to say, worthy champions.
Worthy champions on today's performance. As we said, they had the 3 key players, and here was the first penalty, and no surprise, it was Carruthers playing the ball over the top. He made run after run, Robinson, and here twisting and turning. He's got good close control. Davey was trying to win the ball back. There's the little threats to cross it with his left, drags it back, and Burke made no mistake from the penalty spot. Although Burke scored the 2 goals from the penalty spot, I think it was his strike partner, looked the better player.
Well, he's ended up joint top scorer with Chelsea's Islam Ferrers now, with those 2 penalties, 7 goals in this competition. And that was the challenge for the penalty, the foul on Joshua Barton. Referee right there. And I don't think Chelsea can have any complaints about either of the awards. And Burke, confident, knew at the end of the day, if he missed, Villa were probably still going to win. But a good penalty from Burke, who struck from the penalty spot 3 times here in Como, including the one against Sporting in the semi-finals. Inter in 2012 were the NextGen champions, but in 2013 it is Aston Villa who have won the all-English final here against Chelsea by 2-0 to become the first English team to lift the NextGen Series competition. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the tournament with us throughout 2012-2013 on Eurosport. Congratulations to Tony McAndrew and Aston Villa. Until next time, from myself, Wayne Boyce, and Stuart Robson, stay tuned for Eurogoals. It's goodbye.